Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on Planet Zoo in our second zoo on our franchise. We are finally starting our second zoo and I'm really excited about this one. We are going for more of an Asian themed zoo and we're probably going to only do Asian animals or animals that live in Asia. That being said, we have to start up our zoo from scratch. Now, the conservation credits do roll over, however, our money does not. So we cannot build a whole lot, so we had to be very conscientious of our money. But we do end up adding our Bengal tigers into this zoo. So, what is the name of the zoo? Well, it's actually named Shizen Hogo-Ku, and I may have butchered the name, but there's the spelling out for you. Now, according to Google Translate, I just realized how bad this was because I relied on Google Translate, which was probably my first mistake. But what that means, Shizen Hogo-Ku, means nature reserve. Once again, according to Google Translate. First of all, we had to pick out who we were going to add to our zoo, and we ended up choosing the Bengal tigers because they weren't that expensive, and I wanted to start off with an animal that was popular, but nothing that was, very, resource driven. So we had to be conscious of that. So this is going to be more of an Asia-themed zoo, more specifically Japanese, and we kind of mix up, we kind of go more of a general feel for the Asia zoo theme instead of just specifically Japanese, because I don't really know the clear differences. Now, I did get some great suggestions on what I could have done for a zoo, like an Australia-themed zoo, or even a Arctic-themed zoo, which are all things I would love to do. The only reason why I didn't pick the Australia-themed zoo is because I feared that it would be a little bit too much like the Katahdin Zoo, which was more, modern-based. So anyhow, that's why I decided to go for an Asia-themed zoo, is because it's not exactly modern. It has different architecture. It's not so much English-themed. And when I say English, I just mean like, United States, English, or all that fun stuff. So we try to go for a little bit of a different theme. But regardless, I have to start everything from scratch, so we have to actually outline this with a brick wall, which is kind of sad because I really wanted it to be concrete. I think I may have actually changed that for the upcoming video because I did some side work. That being said, this brick does go away at some point, or it will be going away at some point, and we'll just make it concrete, but it has to be at least 3 meters tall. And it has to be that tall because our Bengal tigers actually climb, and they actually climb trees also, which I didn't know. They will be climbing trees, and I may actually have some footage at the end of the video that has them climbing some trees. But as for the habitat itself, we are getting our guests involved a little bit, and when I say that they're getting involved a little bit, it means that they're going to be right up against the habitat. And we make a bridge, and we're going to make a nice little building for them. Nothing too special. I end up redoing it off camera. I don't think you'll see it in this video, but I'll make sure to show you in the next video. Because we don't even have the Asia themed, we haven't researched it, which isn't that good. But the next video will have plenty of, visuals for you to look at is in terms of how we improved from this zoo. Now, this is going to be a smaller zoo. It's not going to be that big. I'm only doing the Asia animals, and I will extend the zoo if need be. Let's say if there is a DLC. Besides that, we end up building a nice little canopy. Nothing too special. I end up replacing all these parts afterwards. I should have probably just, did a speed build of that off camera, but it would have, it wouldn't have worked out the way I wanted to. But regardless, this is what we have right now. We have the breeze brick with the asphalt roof, and it's nothing too special, but I end up doing the same outline for when we get our Asia-themed building pieces, and I end up using those building pieces and basically just replace this whole entire building same way that it was constructed. So nothing you're really missing here at all. So what are the plans for this zoo? That's probably one of the most important questions. Now, this zoo mainly focusing on Asia-themed animals, including India-themed animals, so therefore it's probably going to be a larger zoo. It's not only going to focus on just, Asia except for India, but it will also focus on a little bit of India animals. So therefore, we will make our own India zoo theme, but that zoo is probably gonna be even smaller than this one. But I'm not gonna like dive too deep into all the India themed animals. Like the Bengal tigers, I kind of thought were kind of a little bit in Asia, but I want to do something like the peafowl. First of all, because they're annoying, but second of all, because just because they're more India. They're specifically India. And same with the Indian elephant and some of the other animals from India. But I thought the Bengal tigers were actually pretty good to throw into this habitat, mainly because you see them as an Asia animal, not so much of just an India animal. So that's why we put them in here. Now these guys are really cool, and I mean, like, the only problem is I gotta really make sure that they don't escape through the habitat. And thankfully, we have barriers such as the brick walls that prevent our Bengal tigers from actually climbing them because they're unclimbable, and that's going to be the same for the concrete once we, update it. So we just throw in some basic amenities, nothing special, just making sure we can get the zoo functional, throw in some education, throw in some nice donation bins, and we make this very profitable, which is good for the start of our zoo. The only problem is that I don't know what to do for a second animal. So therefore, when I'm making this video right now, I'm still brainstorming. It is what it is. I gotta figure it out, but we will see. I was looking at those Chinese, like, anteater looking things. I don't know what they're called because just going off of memory. So that's probably going to be a new animal that we bring into the zoo at some point, which I'll be happy to see here. And there's also like a Japanese monkey thing. See, I'm great with my terminology right now. So that will definitely come in here, considering this is more of a Japanese style zoo. Only problem that I have with this is the location for the zoo. I took a big risk, and I should have known better. It wasn't going to end up in Japan, but it just ended up south of Asia on the world map. So we're just going to pretend it's in Japan, but even then, it's not that big of a deal. I just thought to point that out. So the thing about these Bengal tigers is I've actually dove into some research, and it was quite interesting to see what I found. And they were actually very affected by traditional medicine, and I mean, like, I don't know too much about traditional medicine, which I should probably read up on here, and how it affects animals, but one big issue that they have is that they get hunted a lot, and that's because of the farmers around the area. They're really protective over their livestock, which I can understand, but even then, Planet Zoo says, like, oh, they're not really that highly affected by it. I'm trying to be a little bit more educational in these videos too, so you guys aren't just thrown into the loop of like, oh, it's just a Bengal tiger. Yeah, it is a Bengal tiger, but a little bit of background, because that's what makes these animals all so unique in their own ways, is because they all deal with different issues and they all live differently. But I mean, like, another thing about these animals too is that they don't care where they really live, as long as they're around India and Asia, I guess. So I mean, like, they can live in the prairie, they can live in the jungle, and they can live in temperate biomes. I think it was temperate biomes. So as long as it's warm enough for them, I'm guessing, they can live, which is really cool. But besides that, getting a little bit to our habitat and how we constructed it, we have a nice little rock shelter. Works out very nice, nothing too big. When we actually end up having babies, so you'll actually get to see some, because I was a little late on the cinematic recordings, because I just dove in with creativity and I just kind of flew with it. So the creativity, I'm going to show you a whole lot of that in the next video. Just keep that in mind, it's coming, I promise. But they have a very large habitat, which is very nice, and we end up giving birth to 2 cubs, which is awesome. We make sure that we do this more of a tropical habitat, so therefore we end up making sure that there's a lot of coverage for these guys, and they don't really care how much coverage they have, as long as they have enough. I end up doing some more, little rock structures. I actually have a pride rock in the middle that I just built a little while ago, and I try to add a lot of foliage in this. I really want to make sure that these habitats look like, not only are the animals alive, but all the plants around them are alive, and it's just kind of growing like a jungle. Although it still looks maintained, it's still growing as a jungle. So I make sure I do that, and I even throw some bamboo in the ground, and the bamboo in this game is huge, so therefore I I just sink the bamboo into the ground, and it ends up working out anyway. Alright, so a little bit of a surprise. I'm coming on camera now because I did a lot of work off camera. I didn't anticipate for this to happen. Little minor announcements. I got a new headset for myself on Black Friday / Cyber Monday for deals. I'm enjoying it. And I also got a new mouse. Ooh, right? Nice, shiny, and stuff like that. Not like it's ever going to be seen, but hopefully I just feel special, that's all. So anyway, minor announcements out of the way. I want to show you a little bit of what we did with our zoo after I built the whole habitat and stuff like that. So let's show you a little bit. First of all, we have enrichment items out now. Right in the front here, some scratching posts and stuff like that, even a cardboard box somewhere. But I want to bring you from the front of our zoo. I have it paused right now because, oddly enough, from the Katahdin Zoo, I can't change the time of day it's open now because of the recent updates. So it is stuck at daytime in the Katahdin Zoo all the time. Versus this one, it's open and it closes at the original time that it's preset to. So I think that's a thing with franchise mode now. But it's kind of weird because the Katahdin Zoo is always going to be at daytime now, which I don't like because I want to see it at night too. It's just better for recording purposes. But let's look at it from the front of the park. Obviously have not gotten anything done over here. Please forgive me. But we come over here, we have a nice little garden. I spent way too much time on this. One of the things that you feel like walking into, you know, like a Japanese garden or something like that, or a Japanese area of the zoo, or like Asia theme, is that you got a lot of flowers, you got a lot of tropical plants, a lot of, you know, a lot of nice gardening, and that's what we have right here. And we also have a nice little water stream right here, a little man-made pond thing. Nothing too special. It's more like just a little bit of like a greeting to when you come into the park. So it's more like, oh, hello, like we're alive. So if I hit play, like, it just makes it feel like the front of the zoo is more alive. There's more to it. It's not just people, but it's also the wildlife. But come into this building right here. So I took a few techniques out. I looked on Google Images for some nice little buildings and stuff like that. More Japanese styled, like, you know, just older type building, nothing modern. I think it just looks nice. There's nothing really to say about it. It looks like an Asian themed building. Very straightforward. And obviously we have even more plants over here. We even use some special effects right here with the little flower petals that kind of come up in the wind to add to a little bit of more realism. And that's really all I did with this area. But like I said earlier, is that we replaced the building that we have right here, and we end up using all Asia themed style building parts. Except for the wooden beams. Actually, the wooden beams may be Asia themed too. But anyhow, we use this castle brick instead of the breeze brick, which worked out better toward the front here. See, versus the breeze brick and the castle brick looks a little bit more clean and not as much utilitarian based. And I give it a little bit of variation on the roof. People come down. It's a little close to their heads, but I actually altered that, so I had to bring it up at one point because it was even closer. But everything's working out quite nice right here. I did more research. People can learn more. Alright, this is it for this video. Sorry for the abrupt transition. I had a bad audio recording. But if you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up or just hit it to help support out the channel. I would highly appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Comment suggestions, leave me down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.